Hi there, my name is Spencer and I'm with Xima Software. Today's video is going to be talking about the configuration between Xima's CCaaS and the ACO RingCentral product. The steps are as follows. The first one is provisioning details for Xima CCaaS extensions. From there, we're going to be adding ACO RingCentral extensions to Xima CCaaS. We're going to be authenticating with RingCentral's API. And then lastly, we're going to have a contact center user configuration with an ACO RingCentral and as it relates to our best practices guide as contained in our guide site. Let's take a look. Let's jump right in. By this point, we'd expect you to have an extension or a user that has an assigned device to it. If this has not been done, please pause the video and come back to it. If this has been done, let's go into Phone System, Phones and Devices, User Phones. It will list out all of the phones assigned to a specific user. In my case down here, I have one that's called Xima Handset. I strongly suggest you label it something very similar, depending upon how many handsets you have. That way, this is not utilized by another user on the system. This is going to be exclusive to Xima CCaaS. So Xima CCaaS is what is assigned to and labeled as. Notice that it's not currently registered. I click here, Setup and Provision. It's going to open up on a configuration guide showing you a bunch of compatible phones. We don't care about any of this. The one that we care about right now is other phones. We are a third-party phone, if you will, in this scenario. Click Select. It pulls up our configuration, or rather our phone provisioning for our specific Xima handset. Now, TLS 1.2 is going to be the default. That is currently not supported. It will be in the future. But for now, click on No, and come down. You'll be able to see all of the information that you need. Now, I am out of North America. So right here, I will go down here to select sip10.ringcentral.com. If you're out of the UK or somewhere else in Europe, it would be something else here, SIP30, SIP40. If you're Latin America, Caribbean, one down here, etc. Okay, but I'm in North America. Now, once this is all set up and seen here, let's go into Xima CCaaS. On the left-hand side, this gear right here, click Manage SIP Extensions. I have nothing configured, but I can configure something here by clicking plus. Now, my specific extension is extension 500. Yours may be that or maybe something different. Just make sure that it matches. The next step is username. Username is right here. A quick hint here, a trick and tip. Double click, Control C. Okay, if you try to highlight it with the cursor itself, it might put a space in there. What I found is best practice is double clicking, Control C, pasting. Okay, username is going to be the DID associated to that extension. Okay, so the DID, the number that you dial to reach that extension, is going to be the username. If you have any questions as to what each field goes to, it corresponds and matches on RingCentral, ACO, in relation to Xima CCaaS. So the next one down will be password. Just like that. Authorization ID. Double click. Like that. Perfect. Now, the last thing here, just to note, there is an option here to test this extension being registered. All you got to do is put a number in there, and if it dials out, you're good to go. It'll also show up here as registered on the other side as well. Now, by clicking save, it's going to say this will cause the primary and helper node to restart, continue. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, whenever you add an extension, it's going to restart the GK environment and put you here. All right, so this is a single extension. It'll take a few minutes to register. So while that's doing its thing, let's go over here to the next spot. It's going to be called Target Platform Configuration. Now, remember the SIP domain and outbound proxy, as highlighted here, is going to match right there. It's going to default to North America, which is great for North America. Otherwise, if you are in the UK or somewhere else, it's going to be based upon that domain and proxy. So for UK, for instance, it can be sip.ringcentral.co.uk, sip30.ringcentral.com. Whatever region you have, just make sure it corresponds and relates. Otherwise, it won't register. Okay. Now, on a first install, it's going to have not authenticated listed here. Mine has been authenticated previously, but just pretend that says not authenticated. In this case, click on Authenticate. It's going to put you into the RingCentral sign-in. You can use another account here, put your email address in, select this user specifically, and click Next. This is a super admin user. Okay, these privileges are essentially saying, hey, what are you looking for as far as authentication? What are you looking for as far as access? Go in here and you'll see everything it's asking for. And our Xima CCaaS is requesting access to RingCentral, call control, view your account extension data, view your call log, etc., etc. This is what is allowing us to pull the data across as needed. Okay, so I'll click authorize here. It'll put me back to the CCaaS main page, and it'll say authenticated. So before now, it should have been not authenticated. It should say authenticated now. We are now able to pull information from RingCentral/ACO. Click save. It's going to also bounce the primary and helper nodes to restart. Okay, that is fine. Okay, now as a final step here, to kind of show you configuration, we should now have a registered SIP extension. And we do, look at that. Okay, so we have registered SIP extension. This allows us to have 4 simultaneous calls queuing for contact center. This extension is utilizing the internal infrastructure as it exists within ACO RingCentral, where there's 4 digital lines. As calls come in, I can queue 4 simultaneous calls right now in this particular setup. Now, if I need more than 4, I need to have a minimum of 3 ACO RingCentral extensions. And how that works is there's going to be a primary extension, kind of like that, 500, and then 2 more extensions. Think of it kind of like a quarterback. Okay, this is a very American concept here, but let's talk about football, American football, and quarterbacks. We have RingCentral ACO as the center. It hikes the ball to the quarterback. The quarterback then throws over to an available extension or an available receiver. Okay, so if let's say there's 500, 501, 502. 501 and 502 both have 4 different channels. You can pass to those channels within 501, 502 and have it route over to the specific contact center agent once they are ready. So in that setup, 3 extensions can have up to 8 simultaneous calls. Another way to look at it here, I actually have a guide that I produced previously. In my example here, I have 101, 103, and 500. Okay, so calls come into 101. It's going to then hand off to 103 or 500, depending upon how it's balancing the load. And then it's going to queue in that section until someone's available to answer that call. So in this case, I have 8 simultaneous calls set up for contact center, 8 queuing calls. So if I wanted to have 12, I add 1 more extension there. Let's say 501. Okay, that's 12 simultaneous calls queuing for contact center. This is a really good article to look at if you want more information in regards to this, but that's how it looks and how it works. Now, if the football analogy wasn't very good, come down here to listen to this. So X is how many calls do you need simultaneously queuing? Divide by 4, which is the number of digital lines for each handset, plus 1, which will be the load balancer. Load balancer just hands off the calls, remember. Okay, it's not going to be queuing anything. It's going to grab the calls, hand them off, or pass them over to the other extensions in line. So this is how this works within ACO RingCentral in regards to configuring handsets and authentication with APIs. From here, the last and final step is going to take place on the ACO RingCentral portal. This is going to talk about how we configure the handset themselves, so the one that we're configuring with the handle calls between CCaaS and ACO, as well as the contact center users themselves. So in this case, let's go ahead and take a look. We'll start, of course, here with users, Xima handset, and come over here to screening, greeting, and hold music. Since we are really taking ownership of the call, we don't need any of this stuff. We take care of it within CCaaS. Okay, so user greeting, all this other stuff right here, we can just keep disabled. Next part right here is going to be this one. We don't utilize the desktop and mobile app. Clearly, we're serving as our own extension or our own phone, right? So in this case, just have the second one enabled, which is the direct dial. And last thing, and most importantly, is going to be this one. First of all, we don't need to have the voicemail enabled. It's not something we're going to utilize, but rather we're going to have a couple of options from the drop down right here. First one is play, greeting, disconnect, not really helpful, and then connect directly to group. So in the event of CCaaS and ACO going down, the connection rather between the two of them going down, like we're not registered anymore, it's going to hit this and it's going to say, oh, let's transfer to this group. Okay, this group is something set up within the ACO RingCentral side, so the UC side of things. So if you have a bunch of people set up for that as just a rollover group, you can put that there. So in the event we can't transfer to contact center, let's have it transferred to this group that has all the same people in it. Okay, just on the UC side of things. So that's outside of contact center, but at least you can still answer calls and all that stuff, right? So that's good. Last thing here is the contact center users themselves. Okay, a little bit different setup here, but let me explain the importance. So screening, greeting, and hold music. Call comes in to my direct dial. I might want to have audio while connecting. So the customer hears ringing when they try to connect to my phone. Not a problem. You can do that. Okay. put other stuff in here as well, like hold music if you really want to. However you want to do that, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Last thing here is call handling and forwarding. Probably the most important part and aspect of this. Okay, so the top one right here is desktop mobile, which is enabled by default. We can utilize any phone you have within ACO. Anything that's supported on ACO RingCentral is supported within Xima CCaaS. We use the same device. However, a good use case for this might be something like at home, you use the mobile app, and at the office, we use the physical phone. Okay, that's fine. If you want to go between both of them at each location, that's not a big deal. Okay, you can do that, but a couple things to be aware of. Okay, now if you have, for instance, you're at the office. Okay, so you're not signing into your mobile app. You're just using your existing phone, and this is set to 10 seconds. What it's going to try to do for contact center when it presents a call is try to find your desktop mobile app first. It's going to try to ring you first on this. So contact center is going to prompt you for 10 seconds before it even rings your physical phone. Okay, if you're not signing your desktop mobile app, it's going to try to ring it, but it will be unsuccessful for you being able to answer that. So it will be delayed by 10 seconds upon presentation before it rings your second device. Okay, so something to keep in mind in that way. Now, on this note, if you're going to go between both home and office and you're going to utilize either or, set that to 0 seconds. That way, if a call comes in, regardless of where you are, it's going to first try to present to your desktop mobile app and then immediately roll over to your physical phone if you're not signed into your desktop mobile app. If you are signed to desktop mobile app, it will ring your desktop mobile app. Okay, it's important to understand. On the last note here is the ring time within contact center. Okay, notice that I have 4 rings, 20 seconds. Collectively, that's 20 seconds of ring for that agent. In contact center, the default, though it can be customized, is 15 seconds. So a call comes in or rings you for 15 seconds, and if nobody answers, it gives you missed call work and goes to the next guy in the skill on the contact center. So this duration collectively needs to be greater than that of what's in contact center. So my example, 15 seconds, needs to be greater than the 15 seconds in contact center. Okay, we're going to take control of that call, hit 15 seconds, nobody answers, take that from you, present to the next guy in line. So that's important. So all that in mind, that's what we do here on this particular section. The last one is, of course, you can have voicemails enabled if you want, because it's going to be DID calls. If you have a call come DID or your direct dial, you can leave a voicemail. Okay, this is everything from the beginning in regards to configuration within Xima CCaaS and ACO RingCentral. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was helpful, and good luck.